Great discussion today on climate, lots of fantastic use cases, lots of examples given. I'd like to point out most of them focused on urban. However, rural plays a role in green as well. UScellular has been focused on rural areas for our entire existence. We see it as a huge opportunity. I'll give you one data point. A CTIA study found 5G fixed wireless access could save the average rural consumer 121 hours or 4,600 miles per year when it comes to avoiding the commute. That saves time, it's good for the environment, it's good for quality of life. But what does it require? It requires that the rural consumer is connected. And that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk about rural America and connectivity in rural America this afternoon. And I'm going to use a bit of a device. I was on a TV show called Undercover Boss. It aired a couple of months ago. I'm going to show you guys a couple of clips to help make my point and keep it a little bit lively. I have some friends in the audience. The rest of you I would like to be friends with. Don't hold my disguise against me, please, okay? So I want to give you an example about why rural America needs help, and I want to introduce you to Alina.
It sounds like that job stability is pretty important.
I need that stability because I've never had that. Growing up, people being in prison or people being addicted to drugs was pretty common in my life. So actually when I was 16, I ended up emancipating myself and going out on my own. There was an incident that happened and I was just like, I'm done. I called my grandparents. I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. Thankfully, my grandparents were actually willing to take me in. That next day, they had a lawyer come to my school. I signed the papers. They came and picked me up. I got all my stuff and I left.
So that's Alina. And Alina is one of our store associates in Iowa. And as you heard in the story, Alina had a childhood filled with drug addiction, no employment, limited access to education, and there are a lot of Alinas that I meet. I meet Alinas in my company, and I meet Alinas in our customer base. And my point of bringing up this story is that folks in rural America need help, and you can see that just through some of the data. Rural America is struggling. There's employment challenges. You can see rural has stagnated while metro's grown. There's education challenges. We ran a survey showed rural parents are 8 percentage points less confident in their ability to help their children with math and science, 13% less confidence in having conversations about STEM. There's inequality challenges. The most rural counties have the highest level of inequalities, and there's population challenges. There's also the lowest growth in population. Now, the good news is that we, the people in this room, can help fix this problem. So by connecting rural America, we can make a difference. Let's take employment as an example. 80% of Fortune 500 companies only accept job applications online. If you increase access to broadband in schools, you see better test outcomes, you see better SAT scores. You actually see job creation. And I'll use my company as a good example. When COVID hit, we moved all of our call center jobs remote. So now employees that would have had to be in Tulsa, which is one of our larger population centers that we serve, now can do their job from anywhere. And so if you do a good job connecting people, if you want to help rural America, get it connected. But connecting rural America is hard. And this is where I'd like to show you the second video clip from the show. And I want to introduce you to Kyron.
We made it.
Man, look at this. It's gorgeous up here.
You know, we serve all this. And you see that house way over there?
Sure.
Without us, without this tower being up, that house doesn't have service. It means something to me because it's bringing service to someone who otherwise wouldn't have it.
And so Kyron's one of our network technicians. Kyron has a portfolio of towers that he visits every year, and he's responsible for keeping them up. And as you can see, he takes his job very seriously. And I want to point out that house that Kyron was talking about. The one he said, if UScellular is not up, if we're not providing connectivity, that house isn't connected, and he's right. There's an interesting narrative, and it can be an attractive narrative that says we should hook up every single home and business in America to fiber. And that sounds great when you're sitting in an urban area. If you spend any time in rural America, and I spend a lot of time in rural America, and you look at a house like this house is not going to be effectively or in any way time effectively connected with fiber. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this house. So what you see here is a map. This is a CostQuest map. Every dot on the map represents a house or a business that is unserved. And what you see, the little white arrow, that's the house that I showed you on the picture before. And what you see is our network tower there in red. Now currently, we're connecting that house with low band. But we have an opportunity by rolling out millimeter wave and by rolling out mid-band spectrum when it's available to connect that house with a really attractive value proposition. And I want to talk a little bit about that value proposition. We've launched a Home Internet Plus product. It's over millimeter wave, and it'll be over mid-band once we roll out C-band and 3.45 spectrum. And the speeds that we're delivering in our test trials, we're doing almost a gig of speeds at 7 kilometers from the tower. We market it at 300 megs from the tower, give ourselves some wiggle room. But this is 300 megs of speed to homes that at best had satellite or DSL. It is a game-changing experience. And I pirated a graphic from CTIA to give you an idea about what kind of experience we can provide. Multiple simultaneous video calls. I did a demo with Senators Manchin and Capito out in rural West Virginia. And if you want to talk about a hard place to connect, go to rural West Virginia. It's almost like Hill, Minnesota. What we were delivering there at that point, 75 simultaneous video calls, multiple Ultra HD video streams. We can deliver the experience that you see up on the slide. Multiple video calls to the home, multiple video streams to the home. In this example that you see on the slide, it's 40 megs down, 9 up. That's well below the 100 down, 20 up threshold that's in the regulations that are being discussed. And so we can deliver a tremendous experience to rural America. But providing it isn't easy. We've been in this game for a long time. We've been in the rural connectivity game for a long time. And if it was cheap to connect or easy to connect, we would have done it. And so building a tower in rural America is expensive. It can be twice as expensive to build a tower in rural America as urban. And by the way, you have a lot less density in terms of customers that connect to that tower, so you have less revenue that you can apply to it. And so if we're going to roll this technology out, we need help. And we need help in the form of infrastructure subsidies, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. But we also need help by avoiding restrictions that keep us from being able to deploy this service. And I want to talk about one in particular, and that is symmetry. So what you see here is the uplink to downlink ratios from 2010 until 2021. And what you've seen is this steady march in terms of the importance of downlink. You went from 3-to-1 downlink to uplink ratios in 2010 to north of 14 just before the pandemic hit. And yes, the pandemic in 2021 created a little bit more importance in terms of uplink, and that's why you see that graph going down briefly. That's a lot of people video conferencing. And by the way, these are wired to the home statistics, so I'm not just giving you the wireless statistics. So what you've seen is the importance of downlink over time. And if you require symmetry, which thank goodness the current version of the bill does not, but if you require symmetry, it doesn't solve a consumer problem. All it simply does is it reduces competition and it gives a gift to the fiber lobbyists. So we have to make sure that we maintain asymmetry in the bill. Now, what else can we do? Working together, how can we align what we're doing technically from an investment perspective and what we're doing from a regulatory perspective to connect rural America? Let's go back to the map. If I think about how to do this, and in this case, we're looking at Denmark, Maine. If any of you have been to Denmark, Maine, it's gorgeous. But it's very unconnected. And so again, every dot on this map is an unserved household. What you have to do is take a geography-specific approach, and the beautiful thing is there is a rhythm of regulatory funding vehicles that match that approach that we should take. So the first step that you have to do is look on the map and say, where should you put fiber? And I want to be clear, just because I run a wireless business does not mean I'm anti-fiber. I have to connect all my towers with fiber. So we are pro-fiber. So the first thing that you do is you say, what are the reasonable places to go put new fiber infrastructure? Those would be dense homes. Those are homes that are easy to reach, quick to reach. And so if I'm a state, the first thing I do is I identify what are the geographies I want to cover with fiber. I set a dollar figure and I set a time limit. And I say to fiber players, help me connect those homes as quickly as possible with fiber. Then you look at the rest of those homes and you say, okay, now how do we connect the rest of those homes with fixed wireless? And so in this case, you can go put a couple of towers out. By the way, the distance varies because of topography. We can cover the rest of those homes on the map with a tremendous experience, and we can use the IIJA funding vehicles to do it. So if I back up and I talk about the fiber funding vehicles, there is a lot of funding out there to increase fiber. ARPA, RDOF, even pieces of IIJA can be used to extend fiber. IIJA is the one vehicle that, because of the asymmetric requirements, wireless can get access to. And so IIJA can be used to connect all these homes and all these businesses in rural America quickly and with a tremendous experience. And the beautiful thing about it is that when we put those towers in place, I don't just send millimeter wave spectrum up there, or I don't just point the radios at homes. We also are going to put all of our portfolio of spectrum up on that tower. And so now we've created a better 5G mobile experience in rural America. And in our case, we happen to own our towers. We're the only wireless company that still does. And so we would sell the access to those towers to our wireless competitors. And so it's not just UScellular wireless. It's all wireless players that get access to this. So now what you've done is you've significantly brought down the cost of putting wireless into rural America because you've got a denser fiber footprint using ARPA and RDOF. You have a denser fixed wireless footprint using IIJA. And so then finally, you can take a look and use the 5G fund to fill in those mobility gaps and truly provide a comprehensive solution for homes and businesses and for people on the go. Now, infrastructure is one piece of the puzzle. Affordability is the other. We're really encouraged with ACP. We're active participants in it. We certainly encourage continued investment in it. 35% of low-income households, regardless urban and rural, 35% of low-income households lack any broadband access at all. And so affordability is a hurdle that we have to pay attention to. You have to couple ACP with the infrastructure programs as well. So let me bring back to Undercover Boss and my final experience. For those of you who have watched the show, the really cool part is when the boss gets to kind of reveal, and I took off that horrible mustache, and you get to recognize the employees and the associates that do such fantastic work. It's by far the coolest part of my experience.
You also talked about trying to create opportunities for your son that you never had. Another thing that we'd like to do for you is I'm going to take $40,000 and we're going to create a college fund for your son.
Thank you so much.
It's an honor to do it.
I don't know what to say. Stuff like this isn't supposed to happen to people in my place.
But sometimes it should.
So that was a fantastic opportunity to get to do that for a small set of employees. And I think the beautiful opportunity that we have in this room is that we can create those opportunities for people all across rural America. That phrase, sometimes it should. A reliable, high-speed, affordable internet connection isn't a given in rural America, but maybe it should be. And that's what I think all of us should aspire to. With that, I'm going to hand it to Meredith, and I think she's going to hand cocktails to you. You guys have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for your time.